What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Heroclix video. We haven't done one of these in a while, so it might be a little, I might be a little off, but we'll go anyway. But this is another Team Tactics video because, as you know, Silver Age has started. ROC Regionals have been going on, and wanted to spotlight, some teams, especially the winning teams, because people kind of want to know what's the play out there, what's good, and we want to break down why. So I guess we're going to start with the team that I won with in the Greensboro, North Carolina tournament on April 16th at the Comic Dimension. There were 21 players who won a full 8-0 with this. So let's just jump right to it. The team list real quick is 2 Blackhearts, a Sheriff Strange. The Blackhearts are at 75, Sheriff Strange at 50. Felix Faust is at 30, Tri-Sentinel at 30, Wendigo at 15, 0 ring, and 3 ID cards. Black Widow, Shang-Chi, The Flash, and there is a Reign of Terror location bonus for the Doom's Castle map. So, as I said, it's a mystical theme, +6. So let's just break down the teams, or the pieces. So the first one is Blackheart. There are 2 of them, and this is the figure the team is built around. He is a primary attacker, but he makes more primary attackers in the form of those demon guards, or Hellfire guards that he turns into demon guards. He's hard to kill. He heals. He has Mastermind. He has Power Cosmic later. He has Prob, Outwit. He can make free attacks as long as there's a guard there. He deals penetrating damage if someone died. He has Flurry, Energy Explosion, Majestix team ability. This guy has it all. He has got solid stats all the way through. I think it's like 10, 11, 18, 3, almost the whole dial. He maybe drops like a defense and a movement, but the attack value is all the way solid. This guy with 2 stop clicks is really hard to deal with, and if he gets the leadership roles to make more Hellfire guards, I don't know what else to say. That could be too much to overcome, and then we have to deal with 2 of them because if you don't kill the Hellfire guys, then it's gonna be tough. But he is the main guy that you want to rush out there, and then whatever happens, right? So moving on to the Hellfire guard. Actually, let's take a look at the Hellfire guard that he makes. Okay, it provides Mastermind for Blackheart, which is huge because you need that against Green Arrow, because Green Arrow can one-shot Blackheart. So if you have a couple of these guys out there, it's going to be hard because they're going to have to deal with those guys and then hit Blackheart. He's a primary attacker in demon form. And if you look at the demon form, it's Charge, Flurry, Exploit, which is solid, which is, combat values of 9, 11, 18, 3. And he flies, so he can carry Blackheart with him. It's a free guy that can do quite a bit of damage, right? Normally, you want to look at bystanders that could do that, which is solid. But a lot of times, it's maybe limited. This guy's basically unlimited as long as you get the leadership roles. Of course, it comes at a cost because if you don't get if they die, you've given up 25 points every time. So there is that. All right, so moving on to the next piece here, we have Sheriff Strange. He is an ID card disruptor because he requires them to be given a double power action to call it in. So ID batteries slows down. If they have a token and they want to call in next turn, they can't. So you can kind of tell who gets to call in what, because if they have a token, you don't have to worry about that. He has Perplex and Leadership. Perplex is much needed because there are less Perplexes now in the format. He's a secondary attacker because he has RCE with 8 range. So he'll be doing 11 for 4. And if you have Faust next to him, he's going to be doing 11 for 5. And with Perplex is 12 for 5. He does have a stop click with Mystic's team ability, so a couple hits, he'll go down, but he's gonna get feedback damage. And he's able to call in Shang-Chi and the Flash. That's mainly his role as a support guy. He has ID card Disruptor, additional leadership, he has Perplex, and he's able to call in a couple guys. But in a pinch, he can attack. Okay, moving on to Felix Faust. This guy at 30 points is only 3 clicks. However, he's kind of hard. He's really hard to handle because you're fighting Blackheart, you're fighting Hellfire Guards, plural on Blackhearts, by the way. So sometimes this guy's he gets left alone, but he does have probability control, perplex. He has probability control, outwit, enhancement. So you already have the necessary support pieces you need. And he is a probability control, perplex, outwit, disruptor. Half the time, if they use either of those 3 support powers, it'll have no effect. And then 1/6 of the time, he'll be doing 1 unavoidable damage to them. So remember, it's any time they get to use. So even if you roll a 1 and they can use it again, you still get to roll, and then they might not. It's really annoying because it can really turn hits into misses, misses into hits because of opposing probs. It just has no effect, and now you either hit them or they missed you. He's a tertiary attacker, as he does have a pen blast with a 10 attack. It's respectable, 8 range, so that's solid. And he gets equipped the 0 ring, which means he can make the barrier marker 8 range. It's pretty good. He has stealth and super senses for some protection, and he has the Majestix team ability. And his porting power, where he can just free place within 4 squares, it works well with calling in Flash and making barriers with said 0 ring. It gives him the extra range if you want to think about it. He can port for 4 and then do a free barrier 8 and then power to make a barrier on somewhere else. And then calling in Flash is really solid for making sure you can give your guys that reach. Okay, and the next one is the Tri-Sentinel. This is a Retaliator. Pulse Wave, mind you. He has Energy Shield Deflection, and he has Safeguard Mind Control, 9 range to shoot other Colossals, or blocking terrain. For the most part, when he's retaliating, you're probably either moving through blocking terrain afterwards, you're shooting blocking terrain, whatever, to deal more damage. Or you can just shoot or punch another Colossal in the back. He works well with 0 ring, obviously, because they make the barrier, and he pulse waves, it breaks, and then he'll do more damage. So, like I said, he does free penetrating damage with his foot power, and he can call in Flash after retaliating. So keep that in mind when we get to the tactics part. Wendigo is just there. He's a kind of filler, 15 points. He's a tertiary attacker, seldomly attacks. He's attacks for Sheriff's range. He has call stamina. Everybody knows this guy already. Charge Flurry Exploit, heals past starting line. He can make free attacks if they have wounded tokens. And he has a conditional stop click. Really, he's not doing, like I said, very much attacking, just taxing. But if they get close and, they get too close, he will get in, right? Okay, now getting into the ID cards. We have 3 ID cards: Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Flash. The Black Widow is the 009 rare from the Black Widow movie. She doesn't normally attack when you call her in, and she's 75 points, so only Blackheart can call her in, so you're gonna have to do a little bit of setup. The main reason is, aside from the +1 attack inspiration that you can get your Blackhearts or Hellfire Guards, the bonus, when she does her smoke, which is free, they cannot use team abilities. Opposing characters cannot use team abilities if they're in her smoke. So, and she has outwit. So there are a bunch of Power Cosmic and Quintessence and Cosmic Energy characters in the field. So she puts that out there, and you have Faust and Black Widow within line of fire. You can outwit their defense and then hit. Why is this important? Because Thanos is a big piece in the format, and if you can set up Black Widow and Faust together, she can outwit the super senses from the time gem, and then Faust can outwit the impervious or invulnerability from Thanos, and then you can attack with a 12 attack with the guards and 3 damage. It'll go through the first attack. If it does 6 and it gets through, he's only going to get on toughness, but he now took 6 damage, and toughness with 3 damage is easier for him to, for you to kill him, because now the next attack is you only need like a 5. He goes down, that's like 10 clicks, and then now you just regular attack with, or you can sack the guard, and Blackheart can attack, or even Faust shoots, whatever. Point is, you want to be able to outwit the defense on Thanos so that your attacks and damage stick, right? Shang-Chi, this is the new figure. They've barely made any of him anyway, but this is probably the best one that they've made. 50 points from War of the Realms. He has charge, flurry, and exploit, right, with an 11. So he's basically like a guard. 11-3 exploit. Now, the main reason is because his inspiration gives precision strike and +1 attack for close attacks. He is another one that you want to call in so that the guards will hit people. The attacks will stick because they have precision strike now. If they have super senses, or let's say you're going against an Emperor Gladiator who has a token, confidence token, at least his Emperor roll is still going to go through, so they're going to have to decide if they want to take the token off. He has multiple bolts as well, so 3 bolts with that flurry. Exploit means he could do all kinds of stuff. And like I said, he's only 50 points, so for the most part, either Blackheart's calling him up in the front, or Sheriff Strange is calling him up in the back to give the inspiration so the guards can go. Those are your couple options you have. And then the last ID card is the Flash. This is probably the best ID card, I think, in the format right now. One of the best values at 30 points, next to Superman at 10. But he's got a 12 attack, double charge attacks. That's important because unlike Flurry, he doesn't have to stay there and attack that person. He can just hit the first time and then go somewhere else and hit another person. Which also means if there's an object for him to move around and pick up and hit, he can just pick those up, pick a light object up and hit somebody. He has his inspiration is the main use, right? Because a lot of times when you play him, you're going to call him in the back to get the +3 speed, so that your Blackhearts get the +3 move, so they can running shot and hit the back row, or they get the alpha strike, or if it's close enough, the guards can get the +3 move to charge 8 squares. Faust and Tri-Sentinel can call him in addition to Sheriff Strange, so he can come from anywhere now. If you're able to get the Tri-Sentinel retail and then call this guy in, you're in their side, and now he comes out. So, and then obviously the Zero Ring and Reign of Terror kind of self-explanatory, because one gives free barrier for Tri-Sentinel, and then the Reign of Terror gives the extra leadership rolls for Blackheart to get those said Hellfire cards. And lastly, let's talk about the Sideline. Of course, this is Silver Age, so probably the sidelines will be at full capacity. We already know about the 3 ID cards, like I mentioned earlier. And let's take a look at the Troublemaker guys. There are 2 of each. Of course, Samurai and Vulcan are kind of staples because it's penetrating poison, regular poison, and Samurai can also do exploit. So that's if things go wrong, these guys come out. And if on the other side, if you do hit, Grodd and Brainiac are really excellent, because Grodd will give you the free damage if they're hindering, but also empower. So future turns, Blackheart or the guards are doing more damage. But really, I think Brainiac will be the one that's going to be called the most, because if you're on the Doom's Castle map, there's a lot of elevated, and a lot of people are going to be on elevated because they kind of don't want to go down low because it's getting close to the blocking terrain for Tri-Sentinel. So if they're up top, Brainiac can get called in and he can maybe get free damage, but also he has outwit, and That's very important. And of course, Deadpool is here because, you know, if a 75-point monster dies, guess what? Deadpool takes their place. So with 2 Blackhearts, you know, one of them goes down, Deadpool can come in. And of course, you can make a Jeff Pog. And then Destroyer, probably one of the best primes that they've made. Great sideline piece. Really good if you get hit by their opposing equipped guys, because then he can follow them. And it's just another guy on the board for free, right? So that guy is something that that piece is something that a lot of players should be worried about, or at least be aware of when you're playing equipment, because that guy he could be very brutal and just change the game. Okay, so let's get into the strategy and tactics portion. Of course, if you win map, you're trying to go for the Alpha Strike on turn 2. So what you would do on Doom's Castle, which is the map you're always going to go on, you're going to equip the Zero Ring with onto Faust with Tri-Sentinel, and then you're going to kind of creep up 4 squares to set up for turn 2. You're going to hopefully get a guard, and then move up just right behind the blocking in the middle of the map, you know, on the lower elevation. Kind of move your whole team there, even with Wendigo and Sheriff Strange. Now, if they have an Alpha Strike capability on turn 1 themselves, then you don't bring up Sheriff Strange or Wendigo, because the Blackhearts are enough of a deterrent, or enough of a I guess a bait. Not even bait, but they have to attack him, because if not, you're going to go after them. So they could bypass and go after Wendigo and Strange, but it might not be worth it. And then, of course, you put another barrier marker for free next to the blocking to make it even more. You set everything up, and then on the next turn, depending on what they do, if they stay in the back, then you can reach them by using Faust to call in Flash, or if you moved up Strange with Wendigo, you call in Flash with Sheriff Strange to give your Blackhearts +3 move, or your guards +3 move as well. But you're probably not going to be doing that because they're going to still be too far. But you're going to running shot with a Blackheart, 8 squares, energy explosion, and then running shot with another Blackheart, energy explosion. But if you can set it up, and if they have enough Colossals where they're kind of all bunched up and they don't see it, you can actually sacrifice your guard first, so that they do penetrating. So then when they both do their energy explosion, it's going to be penetrating. So it's going to be a running shot, penetrating, energy explosion for free, and then a regular energy explosion, and then for it penetrating, and then the second Blackheart comes running shot, energy explosion. And that's kind of all she wrote if they all get hit, because if the Blackhearts do get hit on the counterattack, if there's anyone left, then the Tri-Sentinel can come across and finish them off, or they can make a Demon Guard and then turn them and then go. That's basically it for that. But if you go second, and you know there are a lot of Alpha Strike capabilities in this format, and of course opposing Blackhearts that have energy explosion, you want to split up. You kind of want to put one Blackheart by himself, another Blackheart by himself, and you know, with their accompanying Hellfire Club Guard. And then you want to put Wendigo and Strange together somewhere else, Tri-Sentinel somewhere else, and then Faust somewhere else, maybe in the middle or something. But basically, you just want them to have to make a tough choice of who to go after, because it's hard to go after the whole team if you're playing an Alpha Strike against a team that's spread out. Especially a team like this where Blackheart can take an Alpha Strike hit, and even if they spend their entire turn to kill him, there's still second Blackheart, and then you did Mystics, and then our Retaliator's coming. Right? Of course, they can retaliate you as well, but if you spread out, it's going to be much harder for them, right? Now, if you're able to do... Okay, so let's take a look at some of the tricks here. I'm going to bring up some slides here. The first one is the obvious one. I already mentioned it earlier. It's the Faust and Tri-Sentinel trick, where Faust does the free barrier marker, and then Tri-Sentinel either shoots it, or if you're able to get the retail off, Tri-Sentinel goes over their retails. They all take 1 damage from the pulse wave, and then all blocking within 3 squares breaks. Well, if there's a Faust barrier marker within 3, guess what? That'll break, and then that'll also do 1 pen on the guys next to them. Now, another thing you could do with the same trick here is if you're going up against opposing mystical characters and they get hit, they give you feedback damage, you can retell on them on the same turn with your Tri-Sentinel with the Pulse Wave. So you're just doing all kinds of damage really quickly, and it mounts really quickly, right? And then another thing you can do with the Tri-Sentinel, if you are over there and you didn't burn your Flash ID yet, he can go over there, port for the Pulse Wave, and then you can ID call in Flash. And then Flash is now you're over there in their back row or close to it, and Flash can double charge them, because a lot of characters right now are 4 clicks. You know, if you look at the Scarabs and stuff, Sky Tyrant, even Commissioner, whatever, they're all just like 4 clicks. So then Flash can just charge, hit them for 3, hit one guy for 3, and then hit another guy for 3, and then you just took out 2 guys for the price of 2 an ID calling. So there is another use for the Flash instead of just the +3 move. So that's why I'm saying this figure and card is just one of the best, because it gives you that versatility that everybody's looking for. Now, another thing you can do, if let's say it's hard to get inside but you can still shoot, is you can still use Blackheart with Sheriff Strange in conjunction with Faust. If let's say you just can't do enough penetrating damage with the energy explosion, you might as well just running shot next to Faust, or carry Faust on the running shot with Blackheart, and then you can do 4 damage with the enhancement. Same with Sheriff Strange. It's a little harder to set up because he doesn't have running shot, but you know, if you're on an open map and they're within 8 range of him, Faust can just port over there, and then Strange is doing 11 attack, 5 damage. And you know, if Faust is able to outwit a defense, he's really close to one-shotting somebody, you know, if he didn't already. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about with this, and this is very important because the format right now, there's a lot of objects. Let's say a figure like Sky Tyrant, which is like the most popular figure for attackers out there. He's always rocking the power gem, right? So he comes in, hits you twice, he runs away. You get 2 rolls minimum for Destroyer to come out. So if you know, he almost always comes out at least one time if Sky Tyrant's hitting, because then Sky Tyrant runs away, and then wherever he goes, the same column or row, Destroyer's going to follow him, which now means on your next turn, if they don't deal with him right away, he can just attack Sky Tyrant, and then he could just kill him, and then he'll pop or whatever. But the point is, it's a free guy that comes out that's hard to fight, because if he comes out and click 1 and they're not able to deal with him, he's just going to stick around and just wreak havoc. Also, what's the cool thing about him, if he's all the way over there, he can still call out Black Widow. So if there's like a Thanos that hits you, he can port over there, and if they don't deal with Destroyer, you can call out Black Widow, put the smoke under, turn off Super Sense or whatever, and then come in with your Blackheart and hit. But the other thing is, they have to deal with Destroyer, which means if they have to fight this guy to get him off the map, that means your Blackhearts aren't being touched. And you know, if they're not attacking you and attacking Destroyer, remember, Destroyer wasn't really on your team. It's just something that's free that comes out. So it is very, very important to decide if you're going to play a Prime on your team, it has to be better than the Destroyer option, especially in the format where there's a lot of equipment. So I think this is going to be, he's one of those pieces format defining. Let's talk about the main strategy here. And this is the reason why the team is kind of built this way. It's basically to turn all your Hellfire Club guards into the Demon guards with Blackheart. So the plan is you want to get 2 or 3 on the map if you can, and then on one turn you turn them all, and then they all charge Flurry. That's the gist of the strategy. Now, with Reign of Terror and 2 leaderships, you have a good chance of getting 1 every turn. But if not, even if you only get 2 and 3 turns, a lot of times they won't be dealing with that piece. And if you turn it into a Demon Guard, they have to deal with that piece. So it's another one of those, something that wasn't on the map that came on the map, they have to deal with. And if they do, fine. It's not part of your team anyway, so you're not really losing ground. You're losing points, we're not losing ground. Now, if you do turn them and you do get the attack off, it's imperative on their next turn they absolutely kill it. Because if they don't, the Demon Guard's gonna flurry exploit again. And then that's not even counting if you make a couple more the next turn and then you power action with the other Blackheart to turn those into Demon Guards, and then you go in again. You know, there's a little snowball effect that happens when you start making a couple of them and then they actually start connecting. Because now that's less for them to fight back with, which means more chances, more time for you to make more. And if they do deal with it, Blackheart can now attack even if you don't have the guards anymore because they killed it. You can just attack with Blackheart now, or call in a Black Widow and then whatever. So the main strategy is to always, as soon as you can, turn them into the Demon Guards, because now it puts an immediate threat against your opponent. Because if they're only in the running shot mode, they're not. That's no threat. But if they turn right away, it is an immediate threat, right? So that's always what you kind of want. You want an immediate threat for them to decide who to deal with. They want to fight the Hellfire Guard, or they want to fight Blackheart. They want to go with the Source, or they want to go with the Hellfire Guard. But let's say they even fight one of the Blackhearts. If you have a Demon Guard, he can charge Flurry, and then if they have to clear next turn, you could just Flurry again. So just always turn him into the Hellfire Guard demon mode if you can. Of course, there are little situations where you might not want to, especially if you're going for the Alpha Strike. You just sacrifice them and then go for the Energy Explosion. But you know, if you go second, you kind of want to turn. So, but that's what I got. Those are team breakdown, strategy, tactics. You know, there are a lot of more iterations you can do, but that's basically the gist of it. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think that this a mystical team or double Blackheart is still viable even after what the metagame looks like now. I still think it's really good because, you know, it's very hard to deal with Blackheart, let alone 2. So let's see where this goes. Hopefully I could do more of these videos. Please like, subscribe, comment. And you know, if there are cool teams you want to do a spotlight on, let me know. And I'll see what I can do. But for the most part for now, we're going to be looking at the winning teams and then going from there. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And see you next time. Remember, only bad players blame the dice. See ya.